Alright, time to do some Patreon requests, and the first one we're going to do is from Lamanta Benson, who asked me to do... Originally the title was 10 anime I'll never talk about. Like, it's 10 anime I will never, like, talk about or request to be talked about or, you know, even review. And I couldn't think of 10 right out the top of my head. I'm sure there's more out there that I'll never really talk about, but, like... There are some anime, and oh boy, this is going to get me in trouble, because I have some differing opinions when it comes to anime, if I'm being honest. Not to say I hate anime. Obviously, I have a good collection of anime in my repertoire. But the fact of the matter is that... Look, the fact of the matter is I don't have the same kind of love for a lot of mainstream anime as some people do. And if you do, that's totally fine. If you love these anime that I'm going to bring up, not every one of them are mainstream anime or anything, but don't bother sending like Patreon requests for me to do these, because I just won't do them, because I just don't care about these anime. They've just never appealed to me. If you like them, that's totally fine. I'm not trying to say you suck for liking them. I just never cared for them. So yeah. But before we go any further, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the 3rd tier. That'll allow you access to all the stuff on Patreon, as well as all the allow you to send me requests for videos to do here on Patreon. You know, rather than just comment every random, you know, comment on every video on these random crossovers you try to demand me to do. Not saying everyone does that, but a certain number. It's getting a little annoying. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, let's just get this out of the gate. Let's just get this out of the way first and foremost, because I already know some people are gonna be like, oh my god, really? Yeah, really. I do not care for the quote-unquote big three. What are the big three, you ask? Glad you asked. One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. I do not care for any of these three. Now, full disclosure, I did try to get Naruto in high school, but it just wasn't for me. Like, I would try to read the manga, keep up with the episodes, and I just couldn't do it. Just nothing about it. It was very zeitgeisty, though. Everyone was reading Naruto, and I thought that was, and I was like, all right, cool, maybe I'll give it a shot. And I just couldn't do it. Like, I legit could not do it. And then you have One Piece, what I never got into. Like, I never saw the appeal of One Piece personally. It was just, you know... And also, the show's so goddamn big. You guys want to complain about, like, how comic runs go? I point to One Piece and go, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Seasons of you know, dramas have canceled long before One Piece have. It boggles my mind. Like, the show has, like, no appeal to it for me personally. And it's like, it should, like, that's the weird thing. It really should have appeal for me. That it's a bunch of pirates going on, like, these fun adventures, and they encounter weird shit. Like, it's almost like a Popeye cartoon, right? But I just couldn't do it. Like, I'm happy One Piece has got, like, I was actually happy that One Piece got such a great live-action adaptation, even though I never watched it, but I've heard nothing from fans saying it was perfect, absolutely perfect, right down to the last minute detail. But I was like, cool, that's just not for me, it's just not for me. So I never cared for One Piece from the get-go. Same thing with Bleach. Bleach I tried for a little bit, and I was like, it's not for me. And you know what the thing of it is? You really want to know what the thing of it is? It's all the same. All three of them are the same. No, really. And you can make the argument like, oh, they're all inspired by Dragon Ball Z. You know, rest in peace, Toriyama. And that's, yeah, there's no hiding it that they were all inspired by DBZ, because Akira Toriyama, the creator of Naruto, I remember when I read the mangas in high school, he would gush about Akira Toriyama and his inspiration, and it's cool. I really like the fact that like these guys were all inspired by Akira Toriyama, but they're all aping off Dragon Ball Z. And they're all kind of the same. Like, protagonist has a group of quirky friends, they go on adventure, they encounter quirky villains, and they get power-ups every so often that makes the anime community bitch at each other of who would win in a fight. I paused there just to let that sink in. But, yeah. It's just, Bleach. Dragon Ball Z with swords. And... yeah, some of the I will admit that the concept of Bleach out of the three of them is probably the coolest, but, like, I genuinely, like, was like, nah. So there you go. I'm getting the controversial statement right out the gate. Like, I'm just getting that out of my system now. I will never watch, don't ask me to, like, do anything with, like, fanfiction idea, review, anything. I just do not care for One Piece, Bleach, Naruto. Big three. Nah, it's the big. You want to know what the big three is in anime? Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Sailor Moon. Yep. I said Sailor Moon. But yeah. I digress. Where was I going? Yeah. Actually, let's talk about it. Let's keep this train going. And this is one I have talked about. Like, this is one I have talked about, but I've never cared for it personally. And it's in the same way I acknowledge how Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen are important pieces of comic media, but I've never personally had any attachment to it. And that is Evangelion. Yep. Oh boy, we're just breaking it all. We're just bringing it all down. Bring it all down to hell. I didn't know I was gonna make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 reference until I did it. But yeah, again, Evangelion. I acknowledge what it has done for anime, for media in general. I fully acknowledge that, and I think it's great. But I never cared for it. I've watched it. I've never cared for it. Like, and you might be thinking, oh, but what about like, Evangelion .9999900111000 blah 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 blah. Nah, I've tried. I watched the entire anime. I watched the old series. I watched end of Evangelion. I have watched the new series of movies that came out on Amazon. And I just felt no attachment. I felt no care for these characters. Shinji is a bitch. His dad's awful. Rei is boring as fuck. I said it. Asuka is... God... And I know there's reasons why these characters are awful. But I just don't want to watch a show where the entire cast is just awful. God forbid I watch these shows and I want to watch characters who like each other. And I know I just said, like, I should like One Piece, but, like, it just never appealed to me. But yeah, I just don't want to watch a cast who's just who's fuck awful. Yeah. If you like Evangelion, and again, I've talked about it, I know about it, and I acknowledge what it has done, and I will forever appreciate what it has done for the anime community, for anime in general, for everything, really. For what is the effect it has had on animation as well as live action. Hell, like a good example is the creature in Nope was inspired by one of the angels. I can't remember which one, it was the eye one. But yeah, so that kind of shows the effect of anime. And it, of course, like, it's the mecha anime everyone knows. So yeah. And again, it gave us Hideaki Anno, who created the Shin universe, brought back, created Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, Shin Kamen Rider, it gave us that. And gave us, a creator who had, like, amazing deep details in all of the reinventions of Tokusatsu. But I just cannot get it, for the life of me, cannot get into Evangelion. Anyway. So, let's talk about some anime that are some lesser known and I will never care for. Isekai anime. fuck all of it. Except Gate. Gate, even though does have fan service, and that's a story for another time, Gate is actually kind of interesting because it's like a whole mystical world ending up like having a gateway to modern day Japan and the JDF, and it's like fantasy crash landing into the world of like the modern world. And yes, it does have some comedic moments, it does have all that, but it's kind of fascinating. Like, I know like the TNA fan service is there, I feel like it's there, and it's but I like Gate because it does something different with the Isekai ideas. Like, it's a whole world, and now you get to see like modern day warfare fighting, you know, dragons and shit. How often do we get that? Never. So Gate is the exception. Overlord is another exception because it doesn't really feel like an Isekai half the time. But most Isekai, like Sword Art Online, Shield, Dungeon, whatever the fuck, don't care for them. Never have, never will. Because it all feels the same. It is literally all the same. So yeah, Isekai anime, fuck that. Most harem anime, with the exception of a few, I will never care for. Love Hina is an exception. Yeah, Love Hina is an exception. I would say, there's a few little exceptions, but most harem anime, it's all the same. Don't care. What else? Oh, let's actually talk about one, because I've gotten people asking me to talk about this in the past, and that is Bible Black. Now, for the youngsters out there, do not type that. I'm serious, don't. That anime is technically a hentai, and, you know, the best way to describe Bible Black for most of us, and most of you, like the older generation, have, like, knowledge of it, but, and I'm not going to go into detail because it's so goddamn awful. And so disturbing. But basically, Bible Black, for most of us, was the 9/11 of anime. Specifically, like, if you were looking up, like, hentai, it was the 9/11 of anime for a multitude of reasons. Because when people talked about Bible Black, it was like the same way they talked about 9/11. And it's such a... But follow me, just follow me on this. Is that... we all have that kind of, like, where were you when you first watched Bible Black? Like, like, you could be like, you know, I was in my room, and then I heard my older brother call me, Jimmy, get in here, you gotta see this! And I saw, and I didn't know what to do. Our younger brother was crying in the corner, and we told him it'd be alright. But honestly, we didn't know. You know, when the first girl went down, we thought it was an accident, but then, you know, when the second girl went down, we both knew this wasn't an accident. It's like that. Like, it's literally like, here's another, it's the 2 girls, 1 cup of anime. That is the best way to describe it. I will never talk about Bible Black. I've only seen like, a quarter of an episode, like, halfway through an episode, and then I went, no, I can't do this. And I was, like, I think in junior high, and one of my friends said, you gotta check out Bible Black, it's a great anime. And then the next day I said, you son of a bitch, and then punched him. So, yeah, I will never talk about that. I don't know why I have random people sometimes talk about, can you review Bible Black? I mean, fuck that! Fuck all of that! Yeah, it is so awful. But yeah, I thought I'd leave on like an obvious note. So there you go, guys. Those are some anime I just do not care for. Again, if you like any of these anime, if you really like Bible Black, I don't know what's wrong with you. But if you like, you know, again, I'm not trying to shit on I'm not trying to shit on you if you love One Piece or Naruto or any of those. It just never appealed to me. Like, those anime just never personally appealed to me. I don't consider myself a major anime fan to begin with. I do like some anime. You know, I do like a good chunk of anime. Like, again, Black Lagoon, Ghost in the Shell, you know, Akira. And a lot of obscure anime. Someone asked me, and this is why I just wanted to do this video next, was because I just did my, like, 5 favorite anime. And I don't know why people kept saying top 5, because I didn't say it was, like, 5 specifically. And my favorite anime is Baccano. So I've always been a fan of the lesser-known anime that no one really talks about. But yeah, so I thought I'd just get this out of the way. So yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below, what are some anime that you just do not care for? And again, not trying to shit on anyone, this is just my personal opinion. If you like those anime, totally fine. Unless you like Bible Black, and I don't know what to tell you. Just touch grass. That's the only thing I can say. But other than that, once again, I'd like to thank Lamonta Benson for this Patreon request and continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.